Coming up on NTD Daybreak, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is stepping down. The Prime Minister was facing pressure from members of his own party to resign after a series of allegations came to light. He's expected to make the announcement today.
Police in Virginia prevent a possible shooting on the 4th of July, thanks to a tip from what they call a hero citizen.
Over 400 fugitives are taken off the streets of New York City. It's part of a nationwide operation targeting communities with high levels of violence.
Opponents of the Los Angeles District Attorney submit over 500,000 recall petition signatures, more than enough to qualify for a recall election if valid.
A storm hit South Dakota's Sioux Falls, turning skies into a deep and eerie shade of green. Meteorologists explain what causes this weather phenomenon. Good morning. Welcome to NTD Daybreak. I'm Kevin Hogan.
Good morning. I'm Evelyn Lee. Today is Thursday, July 7th.
We start off in the UK. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is resigning. Johnson had vowed to stay in office, but pressure for him to step down has been mounting. More than 50 members of government have resigned in protest of his leadership. The latest scandal involves his handling of sexual misconduct allegations against a member of government. He was already under fire for breaching COVID-19 lockdown rules in what's nicknamed Partygate and for trying to protect a member of parliament accused of lobbying violations.
The answer is I don't think he's got the mandate of the people, although he believes he has. Where I think he's coming from is a situation not dissimilar from Mrs. Thatcher, except I think Mrs. Thatcher had a lot less votes against her than he's had. I think he's a bit of a chancer, and that's why I think he does have to go. Get Sunak in, he's the one.
Leave, go, just go. Don't want to see you anymore. Just goodbye.
Lifelong Tory voter here, not anymore. Boris has to go. It's an absolute disgrace.
Johnson's resignation would trigger the process for choosing a new prime minister and entails Conservative Party members voting on a replacement.
It now seems a possible shooting was prevented in Richmond, Virginia over the weekend. The police arrested 2 suspects planning an attack. A citizen of Richmond tipped off the police before the shooting could happen. Police are now calling that citizen a hero for alerting them. The tipster called 911 after overhearing a conversation about targeting a 4th of July event. This is what the Richmond Chief of Police said about it.
I don't think we can rely on luck. I think we can rely on great police work that we saw in this case, and that we really need to implore our citizens in our community, just not in Richmond, but across the country, to partner with police and to actually say something. So the thanks and the appreciation first goes to that hero citizen who actually heard something and said something.
Police say they do know the intent of the men, but not the motive. The first suspect was arrested on July 1st. Authorities seized 2 rifles, a handgun, and around 200 rounds of ammunition. The second suspect was arrested on July 5th. By then, investigators collected enough evidence in relation to the threat. Police say the 2 men are from Guatemala and not U.S. citizens. They're also roommates. Both men are charged with being non-U.S. citizens in possession of firearms. The police chief says he believes many lives were saved because of that one phone call.
Yes, unfortunately, 6 people were injured in another shooting in Virginia on July 4th. It took place in the early hours at a cyber cafe in Richmond. The shooter has not yet been caught. And speaking of crime, police have taken over 400 violent criminals off the streets of New York City over the last month. The arrests were made as part of a nationwide operation targeting communities with high levels of violence. U.S. Marshals arrested over 1,500 fugitives in 10 cities during a 30-day initiative. The operation aimed to combat violent crime in places with high numbers of homicides and shootings. Investigators seized over 160 firearms, over 70 pounds of illegal narcotics, and more than $50,000. Authorities say 1/3 of the arrests made in New York City were people who were previously charged for crimes but failed to appear in court.
The man who accused of killing 7 people and wounding dozens of others at an Independence Day parade outside of Chicago admitted to it. That's what a prosecutor said on Wednesday during the suspect's first court appearance.
This morning, a few moments ago, the judge ruled that Robert Cremo III would be held without bond and that there was probable cause to hold him at this time for 7 counts of first-degree murder.
The man accused of spraying gunfire into a Chicago area Independence Day parade from a rooftop made his first court appearance on Wednesday and faced 7 first-degree murder charges. 21-year-old Robert Cremo appeared from jail via video link in a hearing 2 days after the attack on a July 4th holiday celebration in Highland Park. After the hearing, Eric Reinhardt, the state's attorney for Lake County, told reporters that Cremo had voluntarily confessed to police.
Well, his statement was voluntary. He was questioned in the Highland Park Police Department. He was read his Miranda warnings, offered attorneys, etc. He went into details about what he had done. He admitted to what he had done.
Authorities said Cremo planned the attack for weeks before climbing up to a sniper's perch from an alley and firing more than 70 rounds randomly into parade spectators before making his getaway, dressed in women's clothing and makeup. The attack left 7 dead, and more than 3 dozen were hospitalized with gunshot wounds and other injuries. Police arrested Cremo hours later behind the wheel of his mother's car. Investigators said Cremo had driven to Madison, Wisconsin after the attack and considered targeting a separate celebration there before turning back. Asked about Cremo's possible motivation, Deputy Chief Chris Cavelli of the Lake County Sheriff's Department said only that the date and its numbers appeared to have meant something to the suspect.
His motivation isn't necessarily clear. I don't want to go specifically into what he told investigators. However, he had some type of affinity towards the number 4 and 7, and inverse was 7-4.
Do you know anything about the affinity to the numbers 4, 7? What the significance is of that?
It apparently comes from music that he's interested in.
Authorities were at a loss to explain how Cremo had evidently slipped past the safeguards of an Illinois red flag law designed to prevent people deemed to have violent tendencies from getting guns. Cremo was able to legally purchase 5 firearms, despite coming to police attention twice before, once for an apparent suicide attempt, and another when he allegedly threatened to, quote, kill everyone, directed at his family. Police responding to that second event removed a collection of knives from the home. None of these prior incidents seem to have appeared in subsequent background checks when, a year later, Cremo purchased a number of guns, including the semi-automatic rifle used in the July 4th attack. State's Attorney Reinhardt said that Cremo's family never sought to obtain what he called a firearm restraining order, which would have allowed authorities to seize guns or stop him from buying them.
Mr. Cremo has never been involved in that type of order.
If convicted of the 7 counts of first-degree murder, Cremo would face a mandatory life prison sentence. Additional charges could be pending based on the number of wounded, and even for every bullet Cremo is accused of firing from that rooftop.
A 2-year-old whose parents were killed in the Highland Park shooting is receiving enormous support. More than $2 million was raised in just 1 day. The fundraiser set up on GoFundMe has around 36,000 donations. It's brought in over $2.5 million since being created on Tuesday. The organizer of the fundraiser set it up with permission from the boy's family. The boy was not injured in the attack, and his grandfather says the toddler survived because his father shielded him with his body.
The District Attorney of Los Angeles could soon be looking for a new job. Recall supporters submitted over 500,000 petition signatures on Wednesday. That's more than enough to qualify for a recall election if verified. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more.
Recall Castro! Recall Castro!
Protesters gathered in Norwalk, California to submit a truckload of the signatures to the Registrar of Voters' office. The group of recall supporters filed over 700,000 signatures that must be verified by election workers in the next month.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! George Castro has got to go! Hey, hey!
Around 570,000 signatures, or 10% of the county's registered voters, need to be valid to trigger an election to determine the fate of District Attorney George Gascon. That could happen as soon as November. Opponents of Gascon say he's soft on crime and easy on criminals.
People feel like they can just commit crimes and they'll be out within the same day.
One mother of a murder victim says she doesn't feel the DA will deliver justice.
I don't think my son will receive justice because I don't know how long Gascon will be in office, but I'm hoping he goes, if not for my son's case, for everyone else's case.
Around $8 million was spent gathering the signatures. If certified, the election will join a series of California recalls targeting progressives in a state with a reputation of being liberal. When elected in 2020, Gascon vowed not to seek the death penalty, not to prosecute juveniles as adults, or seek cash bail. He also told deputy district attorneys they shouldn't seek longer prison sentences for repeat felons and those carrying guns. He was sued by 2 of those deputies, who say they were demoted for refusing to take actions they believed were violations of law. The deputies won a court order and reversed some of his policies. Gascon says he's confident he will capture a majority of votes if he faces a recall. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
An explosion demolished a rural Georgia monument dubbed America's Stonehenge on Wednesday morning. Investigators released video of a silver sedan leaving the monument. Surveillance footage shows the Georgia Guidestones near Elberton being damaged by an explosive device at around 4 a.m. No suspects have been identified. 2 of the 5 Guidestones were damaged. The remaining 3 were later taken down. Commissioned in 1980 by an unknown person or group under the pseudonym R.C. Christian, the Guidestones have long been the subject of controversy. The monument has fueled many theories over the years, including population reduction, eugenics, as well as the existence of a global government and creation of a new world order. The monument attracted thousands of tourists each year. It had previously been vandalized, including when it was spray painted in 2008 and 2014.
The Great Salt Lake has hit a new historic low for the second time in less than a year. The ongoing drought continues to shrink the largest natural lake west of the Mississippi. Official sources say the Great Salt Lake dipped to a new historic low to a little below 4,200 feet. The last one was set in October and matched a 170-year record low. Those dwindling water levels puts millions of migrating birds at risk. It also threatens mineral extraction and brine shrimp recreation, an industry worth over $1 billion. For years, water has been diverted away from the lake for homes and crops. Utah is the nation's fastest growing state, and it's also one of the driest. Lake levels are expected to keep dropping until fall or winter.
As a storm front moved into South Dakota's Sioux Falls on Tuesday, dark skies cast into a deep and eerie shade of green. But what causes this foreboding hue? According to the website EarthSky, the sky normally appears blue due to the process of refraction. Meteorologists say with the addition of one important ingredient, this same process produces a green sky. The reason green light comes through more than others is due to the heavy rains within the storm stifling the other particles. The green sky is associated with tornadoes. Large hail will typically fall on the north side of a storm where a tornado may develop. Whether it results in hail or a tornado, a green sky is a good indication that you should find some shelter. This kind of storm is called a derecho. It's the second one in South Dakota in 3 months. And coming up, President Biden plans to officially lift Afghanistan's designation as a major non-NATO ally. The U.S. has not had official relations with the country since the Taliban took control of the government last year. And several dozen suspected members of a criminal smuggling network have been arrested in Europe. The suspects are believed to have smuggled thousands of migrants across the English Channel. We'll have all that and more for you right here on NTD Daybreak.
It looks like Afghanistan will no longer be an ally of NATO. President Biden plans to officially revoke its designation as a major non-NATO ally. That's what the president told lawmakers at the NATO summit. The U.S. has not had official relations with the war-torn country since the Taliban took control of the government in 2021. And President Biden withdrew all U.S. troops from the country. Afghanistan first received the ally designation back in 2012. This allowed the country to maintain a defense and economic relationship with the U.S. It also cleared the way for it to receive military training and assistance even after NATO troops left the country. Biden's decision will reverse this agreement.
As the Russia-Ukraine war pushes on, the U.S. gifts Ukraine a powerful high-mobility artillery rocket system. Ukraine's military says the modern and precise rocket is now Ukraine's most important weapon.
A secret location, a precious weapon, the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS, a powerful gift from the United States to Ukraine. So far, they've only received 4 of these launches, but the scorch marks on the earth show they've been busy. Their commander, Alexander, says the HIMARS is now Ukraine's most important weapon. He says it's modern, precise, deadly, and the Russians should fear it. The operators say its accuracy and range, about 44 miles, allows them to hit important sites deep inside Russian-controlled territory. Mostly command posts, weapons and ammunition storage. Officially, Ukraine confirms few of the HIMARS strikes, but the evidence is out there. The crew says after each launch, they mine Russian news sites and social media to see the impact of their work. Alexander says 20 minutes after our job is done, all the information is public. There was no comment from Ukraine over the cause of this huge explosion at a weapons depot close to the Russian border. But the local pro-Russian forces were in no doubt. Only Ukraine's new HIMARS could have done this. Somewhere in the woods and fields nearby, air defense systems and a special ground operation are guarding this site. And they're all moving constantly, never staying longer than a day in one location. In another sign of the HIMARS' ability to influence this war, Ukrainian leaders can't stop saying thank you. No other donated weapon has inspired so much public gratitude from the president, the defense minister, and the military. This commander wants to thank the American people and President Biden for providing a weapon that is helping Ukraine stay in the fight. But he and every other soldier here knows Russia still has the momentum in this war. And that's why their message to their allies is unchanged. Please send more weapons now.
Police have arrested 39 suspected members of a criminal smuggling network after several European countries launched a cross-border operation. The suspects are believed to have trafficked migrants across the English Channel. Those arrested in a series of raids on Tuesday are suspected of being members of one of the most active criminal trafficking networks. 6 people were arrested in the UK, 18 in Germany, 9 in France, and 6 in the Netherlands. About 150 rubber boats, more than 1,200 life jackets, and nearly 50 engines were seized, along with firearms, drugs, cars, and over $40,000 in cash. The group is suspected of smuggling Middle Eastern and East African irregular migrants from France to the UK with the use of small boats since at least October 2020. It is estimated that the network could have smuggled up to 10,000 people across the English Channel in the past 18 months. British government figures show that over 28,000 crossed the English Channel in small boats in 2021.
And from wheelchair to a surfboard, a woman with determination beats the odds and became one of Hawaii's best adaptive surfers. That and more after the break. FIFA has announced that semi-automated offside technology will be used at the World Cup finals later this year. The tech promises decisions that will not only be more accurate, but also a lot quicker. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
Are still involved in the decision-making process, as the semi-automated offside gives an answer only when a player who was in an offside position plays the ball.
The new technology provides an automated offside alert to the video match officials whenever the ball is received by an attacker in an offside position.
Wow, that's an extraordinary development for the referees to use.
That's right. This technology was unimaginable less than a decade ago. That could be a big upgrade for the game.
And back in the U.S., the story of a young teenager who was told she might never walk again. But that didn't stop her determination to become one of Hawaii's best adaptive surfers.
When I paddled out the first time, I was pretty scared. But when I caught my first wave, the fire did not stop. My name is Mirava Nelson, and I'm a parasurfer. A parasurfer is a disabled surfer or adaptive surfer. I was 14 when I got into an accident. This was back home in Samoa. I came to Hawaii, went to Shriners. They fixed me up. I was paralyzed from the chest down. I was an incomplete T6, spinal cord, broken spine. I used the wheelchair for 6 years before I was able to walk with 2 canes. Now I'm just using 1 cane. I learned how to surf, and now I'm representing Hawaii in the worldwide competitions. It's a custom surfboard that is made for my disability. Nobody knows I'm disabled until I get out of the water and I have to carry my surfboard while I'm holding a cane. There is a lot of newly injured people, young people too, and those are the ones that I have to be positive for. It's okay if you hit rock bottom, but don't stay there. Keep fighting.
Wow, I have a lot of respect for the sea and waves, especially those in Hawaii, so I really admire the determination.
Well, Evelyn, let me tell you, I've tried surfing. It's not easy. It's very physically demanding, and it requires a lot of skill.
Well, I'm looking forward to see you someday in a competition.
Not I.
That's right, you're good right here in this seat. And for this next one, we have a Massachusetts woman screaming her head off, and it has people in stitches. It's all because of a chipmunk. Let's see what happened.
A chipmunk, a dog, and a screamer combined to make a video go viral.
I know I'm loud, I know I'm obnoxious, but I'm really embarrassed because my neighbors almost called the cops. They thought there was a murder being committed.
But it was a rescue being committed when a chipmunk got trapped between the screen and the glass at Ashley Karen's Massachusetts home.
Listen, let's make a deal, baby. I'm gonna safely get you out. I'm gonna open this, and you just scurry right out there back to your happy, whimsical life.
Negotiating with a chipmunk earned Ashley the whimsical nickname Chipmunk Whisperer. She warned her kids in the other room.
Okay, just stay in there. Okay, if I scream, everything is fine. Oh, he's just coming down with it. Oh, maybe that's better. Oh, no. Okay. You were right the first time. Nope. That way. No.
Ashley was screaming bloody murder, but
the chipmunk lived.
It turns out Ashley's Alaskan Malamute named Boss carried the chipmunk to the balcony as Ashley kept yelling, "Drop it." Aside from the screaming, everyone's favorite part was this line.
Okay, if I scream, everything is fine. Somebody said, I want that as a shirt.
Are you going to do it?
I've been mine. Okay.
But in the end, she did scream, and it was okay.
Oh my gosh, the drama in this one. But it all ends well with this one. The chipmunk survived.
What a gentle dog. He even knows that he had to bring that poor animal to the balcony. I really like the part where she's actually trying to negotiate with the chipmunk.
Yeah, at this point, you just got to try everything possible. That's all for today's program. Thanks for watching. I'm Evelyn Lee.
And I'm Kevin Hogan.